girly. Do you want to tell me what's really going on?
Nothing. I just feel a bit silly about today.
Oh, love, it's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Is it supposed to be this hard?
Being a new parent is the hardest change you will ever make in your life. It's just no one ever talks about it.
Really?
You're not the first new mum to be overwhelmed by everything. No one ever gets it right the first try.
Dean's getting it right. He's found it so easy to bond with the baby, but I can't feed her or soothe her. Every time I go near her, she cries. What if I can't do this? What if having this baby was a huge mistake and I'm a terrible mum?
Oh, sweetheart, you are not a terrible mum. You hear me?
I just love her so much. I want to be good enough for her.
You are good enough for her. You just need to trust your instincts more.
How can I do that? I am a mess.
Go with your gut. Stop second-guessing yourself.
You really think I can do this?
Oh, sweetheart, I know you can. Yeah.
We are Si and Sophie. This is Coastal News, a home and away podcast, your weekly episode companion podcast for your favourite Aussie soap.
How's your Wi-Fi at the moment? Sophie, you need an upgrade? Do you need a Palmer upgrade?
I do. Do you know what? I need to give my modem a bit of a poke with the paperclip. Modem. What year is this?
Shoved under the desk.
It killed me. Oh dear.
How are you? Are you well?
Good, thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, not too shabby. Happy Easter.
Oh yeah, happy Easter, happy egg
Happy Easter.
weekend.
Happy
Yeah.
egg weekend, long weekend. Happy just extra days off work.
Oh.
Glorious weather as well.
Yeah,
You're in a good mood.
I am. Yeah, I woke up with the fireballs in the sky, and I've got a wardrobe full of eggs. I'm all good.
Was there an attack inbound from Putin or something?
That sounds strange.
You stocked up on eggs in the shelter. Missile incoming.
They're all
Oh,
chocolate, I assure you. Oh dear.
Well, enjoy. It's the one weekend that we all just say to the diet. And,
Yeah. It doesn't count. It doesn't count on Easter weekend, I'm sure. I've read this somewhere in the Bible.
that it does not. It
No.
does not. Yeah. One thing I took from Bible studies: you can
Yeah.
eat chocolate.
You can eat chocolate and not get any like negative, reaction or whatever. No calories involved, I think.
No. You've just reminded me of a very, very quick anecdotal story before we get on to home and away. At GCSE, did I ever tell you the story about when I made my mum wrote a note to say that I was a Mormon?
Sorry. What?
You did a different paper.
Really?
Yeah. It was a
What?
different paper.
Like, was it easier?
No. Well, no, because I didn't do any work.
Oh. What was the benefit of it then?
I can't remember now. There was something on it. It was
That's so funny.
it was me and similar like-minded people.
Yes.
Like 6 of us only in the RE Excel.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it was good fun. Got a B. Yay.
Well done.
Yeah. Can't tell you what happened on Good Friday, mind.
No.
Ignorance it is. Right, we're up to date on Humley, aren't we? We're covering Channel 5 afternoon pace this week because it's Easter bank holiday and I'm letting the side down by leaving the house. So we're not. So this no, I'm sorry. We're not on the usual 5-star pace. We're covering the Channel 5 pace just this week. We've done it before. We'll catch you up next week, guys. Don't worry. But you've watched those 4 episodes, right?
I have. More than once.
Just because, too much was happening. that you had to watch again
I
to
think
catch it?
I actually think for one episode I just spaced out because I got a bit like, oh, this is boring, and then I was like, oh, I haven't watched any of this. I'm gonna watch it again. I was getting a bit fed up with the well, we'll come on to it. I'll tell you when I was
Yeah.
getting fed up.
I must say, I was sort of prepping for this recording and I had to read my notes to remember what happened. It's just left my mind. And normally I'm like itching to talk about it. So
Yeah,
it's been a
quiet week.
There'll be a payoff. There'll be a payoff.
Mm.
All right. There's actually a couple of things. We'll get into it like you say, but there's a couple of things that I'm more interested in that happened this week than last week, put it that way.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you might feel different. We'll find out. Do you want your headlines?
I do.
Oh. New mum Ziggy takes a secret sleep whilst half the bay frantically search for her. Eden finally leaves hospital as memories of her relations with Cash start to return. Nico uncovers Felicity's booze stash and starts asking questions. And Remy continues to suffer as he watches on at Bree moving on with her life.
Please take the time to like, subscribe, and review Coastal News wherever you source your podcasts and ensure you never miss an episode.
So Dean, as I say, he's a bit frantic when we rejoin the show at the beginning of the week. Ziggy's gone AWOL, left Babby. And he's running around town, isn't he? Babes in arms. Have you seen Ziggy? Have you seen Ziggy? Alerting half the bay to the fact that the struggle she's had post birth with the change to her life. We discussed it all on last week's pod. And in her perceived rejection from Grometta, the baby, who
has a name eventually.
Does have a name now. Yeah, go on. What's the name?
Isabella Stoney Thompson, I believe it is. Or Izzy.
Rolls off. I said to you, didn't I? That's the name of my mum's dog. See that one coming.
Izzy and Ziggy. You know, they discounted Zoe not that long ago because they were like, oh, Zoe and Ziggy's quite, because they both begin with a Z and all that. But Izzy and Ziggy is actually quite hard to say.
Isn't it? I bet it will be on this podcast in a couple of weeks after a couple of scoops on a Friday night. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. As for me, because my mum's dog is called Izzy, I'm just associating it with the dog's name, and like it's not a name. If you want to shout that at the park, I would expect a dog to come back. Not a child.
Yeah, I think it's all right. I just think. Yeah, Iggy, Ziggy, Dizzy. I find it really hard to say. I have to really think Izzy and Ziggy.
Yeah, it's a tongue. It's a mouthful. Tongue twister. Well, he leaves Izzy at the diner with the diner girls who are just gushing over the opportunity while he can run around town. And the last place they look is the garage. I mean, for me, I might have looked there first, if I was being honest. She works there. She's not.
I didn't. I'll be honest. I a few people on the hashtag were saying this, and I was like, that's the last place I would have looked because she finished for maternity leave so long ago, and she barely put a shift in for like months. It didn't even cross my mind that she might be at the garage. I'll be honest, but
there.
Yeah, but you've said that now, and a few people on the hashtag have said it as well. So I didn't even.
Did you know? I'd have definitely looked there before reporting her as a missing person 2 hours after her disappearance with Rose.
Yeah, that's true. It did get a bit far-fetched, but yeah.
I mean, Rose is happy to report her missing just 2 hours. I mean, she could have just been, laid up at Sainsbury's. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like 2 hours is nothing. I've been late 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know whether they thought that she was a risk because of post-birth. I don't know.
Yeah. The more I watch this unfold this week, we were talking about, mental health, post-natal, and all that.
Yeah.
The more this sort of unfolded, the less I was the inference I was drawing, the sort of opinion around that whole debate. That whole discussion we had last week, the less I was thinking it was that.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. you know, I thought she snapped back again quite quickly after one quick chat with Irene. Gorgeous
Really
chat.
quick, really quick. I was really
Mm,
surprised. She just needed a nap and a chat with Irene, and then she was like laughing and joking on the sofa and coming up with a baby name. I was like, oh, we got
yeah,
over that pretty quickly.
yeah, and I think it was like and two, she did like the fight or flight sort of
Yeah.
response. She just sort of ran, you know what I mean? And I just thought, I don't know whether you'd have more of an internal struggle with that. I don't know if anyone listening has gone through
Mm.
it. Can you tell us, help us with that? But yeah, that massive sort of U-turn, very sharpish U-turn after,
Mm.
getting some wisdom from Mother of the Year Irene. My God. Worst mum ever. Like, you
I
can do
know.
it, gal. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, yeah, okay.
You're
Let's
still
think
sober
about
and you haven't hit her yet.
what.
You're doing fine.
Could be worse.
Oh God.
Yeah, I just thought, was it more just a blind panic? And she's had a couple of days
Hmm.
to calm down a bit, hormones all over the place, and now
Yes.
she's calmed
Yeah.
down a bit. Were we reading too much into it? Was basically where I ended up with this. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah. Same. I think I was believing it. You know, when Dean eventually found her in the garage and woke her up, and she
Mm,
just looked really disorientated, like, oh my God, where's the baby and all of this stuff. And I
mm,
thought, oh, here we go. Can we trust her to be alone with the baby? Is she going to tell him that she's struggling? Where are we going with this? So I was
mm,
believing at that point it might continue as a storyline, but then, yeah, literally, as you said, she has that chat with Irene where she's like, "Oh, you're doing all right, doll. I believe in you." And then 2 hours later, they're at home laughing and joking, and she's naming the baby. And I was thinking, oh, is that it? Are we over that?
mm,
Is it just a
mm.
nap and a pat on the back she needed? Was that it? I
Yeah,
don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're not dragging it out. If this isn't going to turn into a postnatal depression storyline, I'm kind of glad
yeah.
because I think that's just really sad. But I don't know. Kind of glad it's over. What about you? What do you think?
Same. I mean, you knew I wasn't enthused by the thought from the beginning. I was a
Mm,
bit, God, Um, it's not something that would talk to me, but I can
yeah,
understand it's an important story, yada yada yada. Um, and I was happy to go with it if that's where it was going because I thought it was an important story. I
yeah,
think it seems where we're up to in the storyline at the moment, it's not that kind
mm,
of story. It was a
yeah.
panic moment,
I
you
think it was
know.
just like she was just really. I think we're supposed to get from it that she's really tired and she just needed
Yeah,
a nap and she just needed a
yeah,
break.
yeah.
And now she's got that. Now they've got into that feeding routine with breast pumps, and Dean's going to do the night feeds. The next morning, I mean, Dean had to scoot off to work for some reason, didn't he? And she said something
Mm.
like, "Oh, it's a shame. It'd be nice if it could be like this forever." So the next day, she's saying, "Oh, my life at home with the baby's great. I wish you could be here and enjoy this as
I
well."
know it
So
was very quick, very, very quick, wasn't it?
yeah,
And that distances me from them, from the
mm,
empathy, because that just takes me out of it. If we're gonna do it, let's do it properly. So
mm,
I'm inclined to think we probably read a bit too much into it,
mm,
last week. I would like to think they would handle that sort of topic with a bit more sensitivity, you
yeah,
know, if it was going to be that. Um, oh yeah, because Dean had to go, didn't he, to the because he
yeah,
asked Mark. I think Dean's decided he wants to be at home a bit more, and he's asked Marley, hasn't he, to
yeah.
basically take on a full-time position.
I don't understand how the money works with this because obviously Ziggy's on maternity leave, isn't she? So she's probably getting paid to not
Mm,
be at work. I get that. But with Dean, he's self-employed and now his business is being run by someone else. He's got to pay that person. So
mm.
is Dean effectively not earning any money now? I don't get it.
Unless it's just doing well, he can afford to pay himself
Yeah,
a
maybe.
wage. Pay
No.
himself a wage. I mean, we've not seen any discussions about salary, have we, with old Marley there? And
No.
Marley as well, why would he give up his own business
I know. I
in
don't get
order
this.
to,
Yeah.
unless we end up in a position where it merges, if he accepts the position but wants to continue his own, maybe it becomes a shaping business as well.
Oh
Maybe it's like a
yeah.
merger type, let's
Yeah.
go into business together.
Yeah.
type. Maybe that's the end game. And
Yeah.
we're just sort of on the road to it. Speaking of Marley, though, I was very confused this week about he and Rose, and I might need you to help me out a bit because I don't get what's going on. So
No.
they're both sort of free, and they're
Mm.
both talking about sort of when he gets clocked off from the surf shop.
Yeah.
So he says to her, what do you want to do? And then she freaks and says, sorry, I'm busy, and leaves him with like a stunned look on his face. Then the next morning they then do a breakfast date and everything's fine. Are they fine? Are they not fine? Like
I don't know.
am I missing something?
If you are, then I am as well, because I'm also confused. And also, he was really, really horrible to her last week about being a cop. And he really saw his ass last
You're
week.
right.
And now he's fine with it. So, like you, I'm not sure what's going on with old Marley. I think the personality that's coming out there is a bit different to what we saw at the beginning, isn't it?
It is. The beginning was happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, just really chilled guy. And now he's like, there's this underlying edge to him that is a bit unpredictable. You don't know whether he's going to wig out about something and flip out and just go in a mood.
Yeah, and then the next morning, fine, let's go for breakfast. And it was like I was thinking, have I watched some episodes in the wrong order? I was thinking, did the conversation the night before happen where she blew him off?
Yeah.
Why has he not said to her, why did you blow me off last night? Yeah, I'm glad because I was thinking, did I dream that scene?
And before that, they'd had that conversation. When he was at the barbecue and he'd finally admitted, oh, it's because you're a cop, and she was like, well, we've got to get on. This is a small town.
Oh,
then
yeah.
He got over it really quickly because she was like, oh, I'm really sorry that your experience with the police or whatever, but can you just give me a chance and I'll prove that I'm not like that. And then by the end of that episode, she was saying, oh, I might ask you out on a date again. And he was like, oh, I might go on a date. There was like that flirting happening again. And then, like you say, then it was like, will they, won't they go on the date? And then he finally does say, oh, let's go and do something. And she's like, oh, no, I can't buy. It doesn't make sense.
No, none of it. I'm so happy that it's not just me, because honestly, I'm scratching my head thinking, what the hell's going on with these two? And just to add an additional layer to all those layers, I'm thinking Rose has not seen this massive red flag that he panicked when he found out she was a copper, and how she's not put his name into the computer, I will never know.
I know, and
why she found that?
PK really quickly, didn't she? Considering she only knew PK, and the fact that he had a business somewhere, and she found out him pretty quickly. So I don't know. I don't know whether are they a good match even. I don't know whether are they just going out because they're the only two single people in the bay that haven't gotten.
I think
someone.
So.
Yeah,
I think so, and it's not entertaining either, is it?
Not at the moment.
Dull as dishwater.
Yeah.
Just gonna say it.
That first date that they went on was all right, wasn't it? When they were in, I mean, it was unbelievable that they didn't talk about her job, so we'll have to sweep that under the carpet. But the actual date in Salt was all right, and then he walked her home, and they had that kiss, and it was all looking a bit interesting then. And then since the whole cop thing, it's just fallen off a cliff. And it's like, do you even like each other? Is there a spark there now? I don't really feel like there is. I don't think there's any chemistry there, is there?
I haven't got time for it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's just like there's nothing going on. I feel exactly the same. And if it goes on for weeks, I'm going to start forwarding them.
I mean, when you compare it to, I can't stand Gabe. I cannot stand him. But when you compare it to those, Mac and Gabe are all over each other, and you'd think with a new relationship, because that's a rekindled relationship, isn't it? But you think with a new one, with someone new and exciting that you're interested in, want to get to know, it should be more exciting. There should be more chemistry, but they don't seem. I don't know. Marley and Rose just don't seem like they want to grab each other, or I don't know. There's skirting around each other. Oh, do you want to go out on a date? Oh, do you want to go out on a date? Oh, I'm busy. Yeah, it's not it's not flirting. It's not, you know, exciting.
It's down. It's bloody boring.
It is.
You mentioned Gabe there. Can't blooming stick that. Oh,
Can't stand him. Cannot stand him. I've been screaming at the TV with this week.
I have.
Yeah. I really hope this guy is not in this for the long haul. I really hope that Mac wises up and gets rid of him, because I can't bear the thought of him being a permanent character. Just can't. This guy has to go. He has to go. Go back to Brisbane, Gabe. Go back to your
You've
restaurant.
heard it here first. Rack off.
Rack off.
Oh no, I can't do it anymore. I just can't do it. And I'm absolutely gobsmacked that Mac is allowing him to speak to her like this, to allow him to dictate, to hang around at work all day. Like, okay, obviously Flick's a right hot mess at the minute, right? And she comes in like a whirlwind and it doesn't look good. But it's absolutely F all to do with you, fella. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Mac, you're supposed to be this person who's left him behind. He did the dirty. Well, he didn't do the dirty, but he did dirty on you. And, you know, you've built, you said it yourself, you've built this business from scratch. Okay, it's in a bit of trouble, you know. I think he even says to us, oh, you'll be back in the black in no time with me, man.
Yeah.
Couldn't give two hoots. Can't stick him. I've not hated a character like this for a while.
No, I haven't hated a character like this since Chloe's dad, I'll be honest.
About 8 months then.
I absolutely hated him, but this guy is just really rubbing me up the wrong way. There's nothing nice about it. There's nothing I can say that I think, oh, that was a nice thing he did, or that was just nothing.
Do you know what doesn't help? He's whining. He's like in her ear, like, oh, she's drinking. Oh, are you going to expense that? Oh, we can't give a free drink to a friend. Oh, that's going to cost you. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, literally the fun police have arrived.
Trying to have a soap opera here.
I'm glad you think that, because I didn't know whether I was just being harsh, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, look at him, he's lovely, and I was like, he's horrible, just get him off the screen. Can't stand him.
And he wears the whole suit jacket thing, and you know, and just like you're just that kind of smarmy business character.
Smarmy, yes.
Yeah, and he's up to something.
Yeah,
I don't care what you say.
No.
Downstairs, meanwhile, there's all sorts of stuff going on because Tane is he's having a bad day, and the Wi-Fi's not working.
Having a bad 2 years.
He's not having a good. How the guy can get up in the morning, we don't know.
Bless him.
So cherry on the cake, you know, he can't take a payment in the gym, so he's gone absolutely ballistic at John about the Wi-Fi being off. So there's a whole sort of, you know, like comedic sort of John trying to fix the Wi-Fi with Nico, and as you said before, puts a pin in it and it comes back on very quick. And then that sparks this debate with John and Alf this week about upgrading the surface facilities, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
You know, there was a time this place was, you know, operated without bells and whistles. John was a line from Alf.
Yes, bells and whistles being the internet, apparently. Oh God, bless. Yeah, this has been a bit painful, but yeah. Well, I mean, where are we going with this? Are we gonna?
I don't think.
What's gonna happen?
I don't think we're going anywhere. We're not going to cover it in great detail because I think it was just, let's give these oldies something to say this week.
It's just an excuse to have to get cross, which I always find hilarious. So
yeah. And then Pete, muffin piece.
Trout muffins. Which sound revolting. Apparently they were chocolate. But you know.
Clarified by old Irene.
That was so funny. Irene was like, talk about fish and how much you like fish, and gave him these muffins. And he was just like, here's some muffins, and trout are great, aren't they? Not on a muffin, they're not.
It's sort of it's sort of like you said, where's it going? It's not going anywhere, this story.
Mm.
But especially as now we know it's been passed by the committee, Alf just needs to suck it up. But it's not. It stood out as the most entertaining thing all week. I was trying to find a way to say it. I actually enjoyed watching these scenes because
Yes, yeah.
not a lot else really took my
No.
attention.
I think I've enjoyed the John scenes this week. I think they've saved it for me. Where I was getting a bit kind of, my eyes were starting to glaze over, and I was like, oh god, I can't deal with this. There'd be a scene with John, that one with Alf. Well, the few with Alf, wasn't there, where they're shouting at each other, and I just found that amusing. And the scenes with with John and Eden as well. They've got me through. So there's been a few kind of that comedy that John brings, and also him speaking to everybody in the Bay, getting on with everybody. That you've said that recently, that he's like the sort of the glue that ties everything together. So he talks to the oldies and he talks to the young ones, and he's sort of the go between all of those generations. We've had a lot of that this week that I've needed, because some of the storylines I was just rolling my eyes at, but John saved the day really for me.
I think he's carried the show.
Yeah.
For a number of episodes lately.
Yeah.
His scenes are slotted in between characters like Gabe, who we obviously just discussed, and this whole Marley and Rose thing, and you're just thinking they're obviously not capturing you and I as much as they should. So in between, you've got this sort of little ray of John in between, and it just sort of picks you up a bit, and it allows you to get through whatever Gabe crap's coming next. Oh god.
Thank God for John Farmer.
Not holding back, are we, this week? You're right, John's had a few scenes with Eden, and she's out of hospital. So she's out, and Cash was, oh my god, Cash was right there.
Cash is right there.
Didn't even put her handbag down. Can't imagine having a handbag. And I'm just, did she even say to him, just give me some space, like give me some time?
She's like, you just leave me alone. And he's like, okay. And then he does. And then he sees her on the beach and he's like, what are you doing out and about? And like, I'll drive you home. I was like, leave her alone. Like, she's just going out for a little walk. It's probably good for her to not be cooped up in the house. She's been lying in the bed for 3 weeks.
Well, I think being in her own surroundings has, got the old synapses clapping, haven't they?
It has,
she started getting the old flashbacks.
Purple bed sheets. Yeah. Triggered a memory.
Touch of the arm. It's all coming back to her now. And it's not the reaction I thought she might have had when she started remembering. I'm not saying she'll go, oh, I remember now, get a kiss. Didn't think she'd do that, but I didn't think she'd like scream blue murder either. Do you know what I mean?
I was trying to think about this, and I thought actually it probably would be quite scary if you suddenly had a sort of memory of being naked in bed with someone that you don't remember being naked in bed with. It'd be like, when you had too many to drink and you wake up the next day and you're trying to piece your memories together. It'd be like that, and then that flashing up and going, oh my god, what happened? That would be genuinely quite scary, I think. Like, I can kind of see it, that it's like, I don't know, like if you can't remember sleeping with someone but then you can just see a flashback of you naked with them, that would be like kind of horrifying, I think.
I suppose so. I was just like, oh my gosh, Cash man can't win.
No.
Like, he's been trying to get her to remember, she does, and she tells him to leave her alone.
Well, the feelings aren't there, are they? That's the thing. So when she was with him, that's what I'm taking from it. When they were cuddled up in bed together, it was because she was interested in, or she was falling in love with him, wasn't she? Really.
Yes.
And now those feelings, I don't think have come back. I think the memory has, but the feelings attached with the memory are not there. So it's probably just like, it's probably quite frightening. I'd imagine it would be.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt then. Thanks to you. I was a bit like, oh, good grief. Rolling my eyes a bit. Maybe I was a bit jaded by this point because I'd had one of them weeks. And then John's taken her home, and that that moment they're playing poker. She
Ah.
opens up. She opens up, doesn't she, a bit? And Remy's back, and her and Remy, she's letting Remy, she's told Remy, I'm starting to remember things now, and I think she's looking to him to fill in a bit of those feelings, to remind her. She's like, was it true? Was that what it was? Did we sleep together? And he's like, yeah, you did. You didn't dream it. It wasn't a dream. It was. So I think Remy might help her. I think. In unbeknownst to him, he's got his own stuff going on. Unbeknownst to him, I think he might be helping her through it, which is nice. And they've got such a good friendship. We've been saying it since the beginning of the band, really, haven't we?
Yeah, and it was nice to see them together again, even though it was kind of like they're both broken, aren't they? Basically.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like before, where they were hanging out playing pool together and having fun all the time and all that. It wasn't like that. Because they're both really sad, they're both going through something horrible. But it was nice to have those scenes with them again, where they're like brother and sister, aren't they? They just really, it's like their family. They really care about each other.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, brother and sister. Yeah, you're right. You can very liken them to that sort of relationship. So I'm looking forward to seeing that a bit more. I think.
Yeah.
Now that they've been reunited, and I think he will pull her round without even realizing he can do that.
Yeah.
And then over the road at the Parata house, Casa Parata, we've got Nick in the airing cupboard looking for a towel. Clink clank of Felicity's stash back there. So we know she's been secretly drinking, don't we, the last few weeks. She's been really, really going off the rails. We had that party, car crash last week. God, better say that, actually.
Not an actual car crash, but metaphorically, it was a car crash, train wreck.
Yeah, and we were sympathising till the cows come home with Tane last week, and he finds this booze and he's worried, and he sort of confronts her a little bit, doesn't he, and says, when she's looking for it, that is, and it's moved it, confronts her in his head. Even Nick says, I'm worried about you. What's all this about? And she's like, I just put it in there from the party, making excuses, covering it up, buying herself time, as someone dependent might do. Is she dependent? Are we going to go that far?
It's looking like it, isn't it? I mean, we've not seen her get through a day without it, have we?
She's medicated, isn't she? You think you said that?
Yeah.
She can't. I think that the thought of what's happened. I mean, she spews it all out, doesn't she? Who's it to this week? She spews. Is it to Mac? I've nearly killed my friend.
It was Marilyn.
Was it Marilyn? That was it, when she had Marilyn the caravan. That was it. She lists it all. So this is the stuff she's blaming herself, isn't she? And she's numbing. I can see why. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of get it, and I kind of don't. I have struggled with Flick this week. I'll be honest with you, because when she's like this, it's really hard to empathise with her. So I'm trying to be okay. You were in an awful car accident. You nearly died. It would have been really traumatic. It was a stressful day anyway, because you were already like, shall I get married? Shall I not get married? That whole day was not that much fun for her. I get that. But then when she had that go at Marilyn, so she was screaming in Marilyn's face, because Marilyn obviously tried, realised that she's moved into this caravan. And, well, you're right, Darl, where's Tana? You're here on your own. And she just kind of launched out and was like, I don't want to talk about it. Do you think, what part of moving into a caravan on my own makes you think I want a little chat about it? And then she was saying, I was supposed to marry the love of my life, but I didn't marry him because I got in a horrendous car accident. My best friend was in a coma, and everything's just gone, sideways.
I should be on the glorious honeymoon right now, and I'm sat here
and I thought, okay, I feel bad. Yeah, you're right. I feel bad for you that you're not doing all of that, but you don't want to get married. You've screamed in Tane's face last week that you don't want to get married. So you don't. So the wedding that you're crying about, you don't want now. So I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. I don't know whether I'm supposed to feel sorry for you that you got married, you didn't get married, or you didn't get married. Do you want to get married? I don't know. And also, Eden's no longer in a coma. Like, she's back at home, and you're in a caravan drinking when you could be hanging out with your best mate that nearly died.
Good point. Yeah.
I just feel a bit like, what am I supposed to feel for her? Am I supposed to feel sorry for her? Or what? I don't get it.
No, you raised some good points, actually. I understand why she's turned to the booze, because it's the woe is me, isn't it? She's feeling sorry for herself. She's blaming herself. I think her behaviour is despicable. Because of what she's doing. And I agree with you in that respect. In that I've struggled to watch her behaviour, particularly at Salt. And the way she's talking to people around her. I'll tell you what got my back up, though, and it's how she led to being at the caravan park, and is the whole family handled this completely wrong, in my opinion. Neek's obviously told Cash after having a chat with John, he needs help approaching the subject, and then Felicity comes home to the three of them, Tani, Neek and Cash, all with the bottles out, all talking about her, what they're going to do. This is bad. Of course, she's going to go defensive. Right? She's going to feel attacked. She's come home. She's been caught out in spectacular fashion. The whole house are talking about it. She's not going to respond, objectively to that. To being faced with that scenario, is she? And I felt like they handled that completely wrong.
Yeah, and Cash kind of went cop mode, didn't he? With the checking of her bag and everything. I was like, oh God. I mean, she'd got a bottle of booze in her bag that she'd been down to the beach with, so it proves that she has got a problem. But the way that he went about it, like, show us your bag, but there's a booze bottle in there. I was like, oh.
I think anybody in their right mind would be upset because they've been caught. And when someone sort of forces you unexpectedly to look at a mirror, do you know what I mean? Like, your immediate response is defense. So she stormed off to the caravan park, and then obviously that's when Marilyn's had the gutful. She's then gone to I don't know why she's then gone to work, but then she's got Gabe at work, who's been all through her accounts, telling her she can't drink booze from her own business, telling her she can't do this, telling her she can't do that. And obviously there's this half of lyric gig going on, and she just pulls the plug on the gig. I mean, all that stuff I can't watch. I'm just thinking, self-destruct mode, and it's, and I get it, but I can understand how she got there.
Yes. Yeah. I can understand how she got there. I'm struggling to feel for her now. As I'm like, the reasons why you're saying you're going off the rails are actually, if that's true. So if you're angry because you're not on your honeymoon, you're angry because you didn't get to marry Tana, you're angry because Eden was in a coma, none of that's true anymore. You can get married, you can go on your honeymoon. Eden's okay. Go and hang out with her. She's still very fragile.
Yeah, your bloody fiance wants to set another date. Do something about it, girl. Yeah, you're right.
It's just but if it's not any of that, then what is it? And if it's PTSD from the car accident or the fire or anything that happened on that day, then she needs help.
And Tana's offered it her, if you need to see a counsellor, we'll do anything we can. We'll sort it out. I'm not saying she's enjoying wallowing in it, but I think she's got to a point where she just wants the booze. The booze is making her, feel whatever, euphoric for an hour or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And I just think she likes being in that position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. You just want to shake her. You just want to shake her, don't you? Because, like you say, a lot of the external factors that she's blaming it on have changed in these last few days.
And I think what's really winding me up is that she's playing into Gabe's hands. As much as I really don't like this guy, I really don't like the fact that he has got a point about her. You know,
Yeah.
with him saying, "Oh, she's the absent business partner. She's unpredictable. She's a liability. She's drinking the profits. She's giving away booze, and she's, you know, making a scene in front of all the customers and everything." I don't want him to have any leverage. So the fact that she's playing right into his hands is really annoying me.
Yeah. Same. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah. Hopefully, you know, that things change with that one next week, eh? Hopefully. And then we've got Brie also, sort of her stuff sort of started up again. We've not really touched on Brie for a couple of weeks whilst other stuff's been happening in the storyline. So she's sort of come back to the forefront this week, hasn't she? And she's been spending a lot of time with Xander, friend, colleague, confidant,
Roommate.
yeah. And you know, going surfing together and all the rest of it. And we learn that it's Jacob's funeral this week. I must say, this is probably the story. I know last week I'm flip-flopping myself with it, but I actually enjoyed these scenes this week. And last week I was like, oh God, Brie. But like now, this week I'm back again. I'm thinking this probably of the main story threads this week on the show. This one was probably my most enjoyable, and it's probably because of Remy. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying it.
Who are you?
I know. Keep doing this. We'll be Team Gabe by September.
No.
So,
I'm hitting him with the shovel if he's here any longer. I can't stand him.
Few loose bricks hanging around Casa Parata's garden.
Oh God, I hope so.
It's Jacob's funeral. Xander's, you know, he's giving her something to lean. He's distracting her, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's taking her out. They're spending a lot of downtime together. They work at the hospital. You can understand why that's happened, like you say, roomies and what have you.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that, you know, she's been getting a lot of nasty messages from Jacob's family.
Moidera. Yeah.
Now, not entirely unsurprising, don't you think?
No, really, no. No, I was saying this on Twitter this week. I was like, I could understand why she's getting messages. You know, we don't know whether these people know what Jacob was like. He's obviously been very good at hiding, or she's been very good at hiding what really happened in their relationship. So, they might not understand how it's escalated to this point, which, yeah, it could be a reason why. He's not had his day in court because he died. So he's not gone to court and had to defend himself for his behaviour, what he's done. That hasn't all come out, everything he's done to her. And also she hasn't gone to court to give her side of the story as to what happened when, you know, she acted in self-defence, as they've just said. But to what? You know, she hasn't given her side of the story. So I'm not surprised that people are sort of saying she's a murderer, because they don't know any facts or any information about what's happened, do they?
And also, she is.
Yeah, well, yes. She's killed someone. So
and she's walking free. Imagine that being your family member.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
Of course you're going to be angry and upset because she's walking free. Now, I'm not justifying anything Jacob was, you know, doing to Brie. Not justifying any of the domestic violence stuff.
But that's not public knowledge, is it? That's the thing.
No, it's not. Yeah, no, that's what you're saying, isn't it? You know, they don't really know to the extent of what's happened there. But also, even if they did he deserve to die in that way?
No.
Exactly. You know, and she's able to carry on with her life and go surfing on a day off, and you know, Jacob can't. You know, like you say, he needed his day in court. He needed, you know, his chance to be held accountable and his chance to apologise. You know,
yeah.
And I think we said it as soon as all that happened. As caught up in the moment as we got in the juicy moments, we said it that's not how it really ought to have ended.
No,
because it's going to cause all sorts of plot problems here, and it's happening. You know, like how in God's name is she able? Is there just charges dropped like that with nothing happening?
With it's mad.
How in God's name?
I know she must have written a really good statement for them to come to that conclusion just based off what she said. But yeah, I think they've obviously tried to wrap the story up quickly, haven't they? But I think this was a fail. I really do
This,
think they should have carried
yeah,
on for this a bit longer.
I agree. This is not this. Yeah, not a good way that this is tied up, is it?
Mm,
Remy's seen her hanging around with Xander quite a lot.
yes.
You know, and they've gone for dinner together, and he's seen her again. How long's that been going on? You know,
Mm,
and he's looking from afar, and he's not happy with what he's seeing, is he? And he's putting
no.
two and two together because he has painfully been giving her space. You know, he wants to be with her, he wants to protect her, he wants to, you know, he's crushed his hand for her, you know. You know, and she said, I need space to process all this. I can't be around you right now. And in his eyes, he then just sees her hanging around with, you know, good looking Xander all day,
Mm,
holding hands because he was comforting her, but he didn't really notice that, did he? He just saw him holding hands.
yeah.
Sees him again the next day at the coffee cart, which looked absolutely freezing.
It did. Everyone's had a
And then,
coat on this week, haven't they?
yeah. And then you know, so he's like, oh my God, again, you're with him again today. Like,
Mm,
what is going on with you? I gave you space and this is how you treat me. You know, he's lashed out, hasn't he?
yeah.
And she says, and I think I was messaging you about this because this line's woke me up. Do you know who you sound like? And I literally,
Yeah.
I gasped. I thought she did not just say that to Remy.
That was horrendous, actually. That was really, really out of line. I mean, I can't defend what Remy did. He should have had a conversation with her, but
Mhm.
I can see that he's in pain. You know, he's physically in pain because of his hand. He's heartbroken because he's in love with her, and
Mhm.
he was worried sick when she went missing, and now she's back. She's like, oh, it's just an affair, and you know, it didn't mean anything, and give me space, and I don't want to see you. And she's acting like that they never happened.
Yeah,
That's such a painful thing to do to somebody
I
that's in love
know.
with you.
Uh,
It's horrible. So I get why he lashed out, why he's jealous of Xander and all that stuff. He shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have had a go at her. So I'm not defending him for doing that, but I understand why he did it. But for her to then throw that in his face and say you're basically the same as my, you know, abusive husband, I was like, you've
I
gone too
know.
far, lady.
I know. And and he, you know, there was a realization with Remy then, wasn't there? Like, oh, real
Yeah,
nice. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, this is
yeah,
the real you, is it? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, there was a moment, wasn't there, where he was like, oh, okay,
Mm,
now I know where I stand. I'm the
yeah,
mug type
yeah,
response, wasn't it?
yeah.
I thought it was complete. It was so out of order.
Mm,
No order can ever be restored. I would never, ever, ever entertain that again.
no, it'd be difficult to come back from that, wouldn't it?
How dare you compare him to a
Yeah.
wife beater? Do you know what I mean?
I know, and this is the same person who, you know, 2 or 3 weeks ago when they were, you know, in their love bubble in the hotel, she was all cuddled up with him on the bed and saying, oh, you make me feel so safe. I've never felt safe in my life in a relationship, and you know, I'm loving this. And now she's like, oh, you're basically the same as Jacob. Oh, it even said in anger, that's just too far.
I'm getting wound up.
Sorry. It's just a soap. It's just a soap.
I know. And then she goes to the blooming gig, and Remy
Uh,
sat watching her all night,
mm,
like dancing, laughing, dressed up, you know, and
mm,
he's been sat in a dark bedroom, pining for weeks,
yeah,
wondering, you know, thinking he's doing the best by her. He deserves a proper conversation,
it
not
does.
her chasing him out the door when he's decided to leave because he can't bear to see anymore. He
Yeah.
deserves a proper conversation. I think this is the straw that has broke the camel's back for him because he says, I'm leaving the bay,
Mm,
you
yeah.
know, done,
Yeah.
done, done.
It would be really painful. He's in love with her, you know. He's in love with her. He thought they had a future. They were making plans, you know, and she was saying, "Oh, when I, you know, when I can escape Jacob, we'll be together." And all, they had plans for the future for being together, and
Mm,
that, you know, is gone now. And for him to see her, like when he's in love with her, see her just walking around like they never happened, it's got to be so painful. I'm
yeah.
not surprised he wants to run off. I'll be honest.
Mm. And all the while, Theo's singing Someone Like You.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, and what can he do? You know, he's lost his career essentially. For we don't know whether this hand is permanent, do we? Whether this damage to his hand is
mm,
permanent, whether he's ever going to be able to pick up a guitar again. And if it wasn't for her, he wouldn't be in this mess. So he's got this constant reminder of their relationship and what happened because he's physically got that, reminder every day.
yeah.
And he can't move on with his life like she is because he can't do anything that makes him happy.
Hmm.
It's awful.
It is. It is absolutely awful.
I wonder where we go with this. I wonder what happens with this storyline because do you think he's just going to have to magically get better? Now that he's got his hands seen too, and
Well, of course, I think they need to they need to sit down properly. I think it's going to happen at some point. She needs to show him this letter, that she wrote, that's turned up, the evidence, that's turned up.
But
I
is that going to
think,
make it worse? Because she doesn't know whether she feels like that anymore. So for him to see that and go, "That's how I feel about you, but you don't anymore," is that going to hurt him even more?
don't know. It's only going to be resolved through communication
Yeah.
because Remy's putting two and two together here at the minute.
Mm.
She's thinking, she's wondering, why is he acting like this?
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Like typically she did this throughout, with Remy. But when she was planning the house with Jacob and all the affair was happening,
Yeah.
she wasn't really taking into account his feelings. And I think me and you even, likened him to a puppy dog,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she was, the, she's not really taking it. She might have feelings for him, but she's not really taking into account his feelings
No.
and his needs and wants, throughout this whole thing. I'm not saying, murdering your husband, being kidnapped, and isn't isn't a time when you can be selfish. I think she's a right to have a little bit of selfish in her, and she needs to work on herself after all that.
Yeah.
Not take any of that away from her, but I think a little bit of compassion because Remy was the only one that was there for her, and
Yeah.
he literally waded in to try and save you.
Yeah.
I think it's poor show, very
It
poor
is.
form.
Okay, it's time for Your Say on the Bay, our new fave segment where we discuss your opinions on all the latest drama going on in Summer Bay. So you can get involved with this by tweeting us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is Coastal News Pod. We're also on Instagram as well, but we do tweet along with the episodes that are going out on 5-star in the UK, and we use the hashtag Home and Away. And we love talking to you on there. I think it's quite a nice little safe space for anybody to sort of get involved with the talk. Anybody that's as geeky as we are, and as super fan as we are at Home and Away, don't be shy. It's somewhere to go and talk and share your opinions on the show and how you feel with someone else that loves it or enjoys watching it as much as you do. So we do love this bit, don't we?
Yeah.
So we also have an email account, which I forgot to say. So we've also got an email account, coastalnewspod@gmail.com. So like I say, if you want to get in touch and share your opinion on everything that's happening in Home and Away at the moment, we'd love to hear from you. So, sorry, can you still?
No, yes, absolutely, yeah. Get in touch, yeah.
Yeah,
What
get
have you
in
got?
touch.
What have you got for us?
What have you got? Yeah, well, that's the question, isn't it? What have I got for you? So, just before we get on to like the sort of main topic that I'm going to ask people about, we did get a tweet from Sarah 30th Floor this week, which I was like, oh, I might ask Si about this because I don't know whether this is new or what. So when we saw Nico get the bottles of booze out of the towel cupboard this week and sort of confront Flick with them later on, and yeah, I found these in there. Are these yours? Yeah. Sarah 30th Floor contacted us and said, I'm sure that cupboard wasn't there like a few weeks ago. It's like appeared out of nowhere. They have a set change occasionally and like move a door or whatever. And you're like, was that door always there? Okay. So Sarah said, I'm not sure that cupboard's that's been there the whole time. And I thought, I don't know. I can't picture it. So I don't know whether it has been or whether it's just been
I don't know, actually.
Shoved in there just for this storyline.
Green eye. I mean, it seems like a good place to keep your towels.
Yeah, right by the bathroom, so it makes sense.
The thing is, I can never work out how many bedrooms are hidden behind them.
Mm.
You know, like,
There's at
and
least
there's
3 or
supposed to be a
4, isn't there?
bathroom.
Yeah. Because Tani and Flick have got a bedroom, Nico's got a bedroom, the Cash has got a bedroom, and I think there's meant to
And
be a
there's a bathroom.
spare. Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah,
quite
and
a
there's a
big
bathroom
house.
behind there. Like, you know,
Yeah.
look, I don't know, like you. I
Mm.
suspect not. I
Yeah.
suspect it isn't there.
Yeah.
And I suspect the shot from inside of him opening it
Mm.
wouldn't have been
Yeah.
the house done up. It would have been filmed elsewhere. You know, like
Yes. Yeah.
with just the backdrop wall up or whatever. That's how these things work, isn't it? But no, we're not strangers to moving doors, and a few doors Irene's come and go over the years, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's been put in just for that scene. I tell you what, let's keep an eye and see if we can. Now it's been there and we've had a bit of things. Let's keep an eye over the coming months to see if we can see it gone.
Have we started a cupboard watch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have to do a jingle.
Keep your
Yeah.
eyes peeled on the cupboard, the towel cupboard. Okay. Yeah. Well, Sarah said that, she's going to go back and have a look at previous episodes. So, Sarah, if you do go back and find that cupboard mysteriously disappears in old episodes, then do let us know, because we'll be interested to hear.
We'll need a screenshot, Sarah, I'm afraid, to believe it.
Yeah, definitely. So I just thought that was interesting. So I was like, yeah, we've talked about this before, haven't we? Where sets have changed, and then we're supposed to just go with it. We're like, that door, that extra bedroom. Okay, whatever. Never mind.
The Casa Paratas had a few little tweaks.
Hmm.
They had a green sofa, and then the next day they didn't.
I didn't notice that.
When they first arrived, they had like a green leather sofa.
Oh.
And now they don't. I don't know what it is now. But yeah, there's been a few subtle.
Yeah.
Changing the sofa is not very subtle, because I was like, where's the sofa gone?
I obviously didn't notice. I noticed the table disappears and comes back every now and again.
Yes, it does. You're right. Yeah, the dining table.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Sometimes it's there and it's got six chairs around it. Sometimes it's not there at all. And I'm like, where's the table gone? Oh, okay. Very weird. But yeah, that's one to look out for. So cupboard watch, starting that now officially. If anybody lets us know about the cupboards, do let us know. But one of the conversations I was having this week was, because obviously this week we've had Eden come out of hospital, as we're talking about in the main episode. Yeah. And her memories are coming back, but the feelings are not quite there. So she's kind of wigging out, and we're not sure whether she's ever going to remember what happened, between her and Cash, whether those things are ever going to come back. So while we're just sort of seeing that play out on screen, I just asked on Twitter, does anybody still want them to be a couple? Does anybody still see Cash and Eden getting back together? And we had a couple of people tweet us about this. So Snow Nova Sage came back and said, I don't see any chemistry between them, not going to lie. I think I'd rather they just stay friends. Which is interesting, isn't it? So, and then Daisy Chain also came back to us and said, I want them to stay friends. I've said this before, Cash and Eden don't make a good couple. I find them boring together. Cash needs a girl like Mac to keep him on his toes. And I thought that was interesting. The idea of Mac and Cash, I hadn't actually sort of pictured them as a couple before, but that would be interesting, not only because of them as a couple, but also because of Flick, because Flick is Mac's business partner and obviously Cash's sister. So that could, oh God, can you imagine if things between Flick and Cash weren't, between Mac and Cash weren't going so well? Flick would be all in there, wouldn't she? And the drama that would come out of that.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? Cash and Mac as a couple, what do you think?
I'm not feeling that, I'm going to be honest. No. Also, we sort of end up with like, is there a bloke Mac hasn't had other than Cash? Like, she's like the Bay Bike at this rate. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think Mac and Tani were the biggest missed opportunity, right? I just thought they were just like sex on legs, like hot under the collar watching it type.
Mm.
And that's what they were. They were just like steamy, weren't they?
Yeah.
And that it was over before it began type thing. But I think of all the couples, of all people Matt could be coupled with, it would be Tane for me. Cash, I think Mac's too much for Cash. I think Cash, you've likened him to a wet weekend before now, which I just love because it's stuck. He's really just boring, like plain as a character. Like he's a copper that you just think grow a backbone, like he mopes around and he's like, oh, like I just don't see Mac being very excited by that.
No, you're right.
Maybe I'm on my own.
In fact, I think the only the only person that Cash suits is Rose, really, because they've got so much more in common. They are both coppers. They are a bit. I don't find Rose as a character that exciting, and I don't find Cash as a character that exciting. I think they'd make a very passable, non-exciting couple. I don't know. I don't get excited about Cash.
Look
really.
at Jasmine. Like, we absolutely love Jasmine as a character in her own right. Like, absolutely criminal. We don't have her in the Bay anymore, but we hate her and Cash.
That's true. Yes. Yeah.
So I feel like it would be the same with Mac. Like, we love Mac. Like, she's a great character, and like I actually couldn't see the show without her right now. Like, I think she's pinnacle character. At the center of everything, and she's actually quite enjoyable to watch. She's really animated. The actress does a fantastic job, and then I think if we paired Mac with Cash, we'd just be like, oof.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I mean, I could be wrong, but I just see. I think there's so good. The first tweet, like there's a couple people there going, "Oh, they don't have any chemistry." Cash and
Eden.
Yeah. I think they do. I don't think they have zero.
Done. No, I think they have done. I think when they were sneaking around and together, it was pretty exciting. I do think he did come out of his shell a bit. I think the problem generally is with Cash, that character. I don't think they've given him enough outside of that copper.
Yeah.
I mean, the only times I really enjoy Cash are, the bikey heist stuff, where he was just going rogue. He was going into prison and meeting Tex, and he was giving him like lip, and when you see that kind of cheeky side of Cash, I really like that. But then are we painted into a corner with this character because he is a copper and because of his job being so serious that actually he can't have a fun personality outside of work?
Excuse. We've had coppers before. We've had coppers before that haven't been like that.
Don't know why he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have a hobby, does he? What does he do apart from go to work or go to the diner to get a coffee? It's just coffee.
Golf.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Like, so I feel like Mac's a bit too out there for him. Eden is to a lesser extent. She's a musician. She's a bit. We supposedly she's had this crazy, live touring. But they have this history that I think could be something we could build something on. And I do quite like the pairing. I just wish he wasn't so mopey about her. And I understand, he's decided he loves her too late. He's treated her bad, and now she's forgotten. And then, this is terrible. And it's like, that is crap.
Like that, it made me laugh. Oh God, you're right.
I mean, it's got to suck, can it? So you're not going to be skipping down the road, but nevertheless, crack on.
God, that was funny. That little synopsis of why he's so miserable. I was like, oh yeah, God, you're right.
And also, like, is he now over the Jasmine thing?
He must be, mustn't he? Yeah.
I can't work out whether that's ended yet.
He must be, because if he's in love or feeling these feelings for Eden, he can't still be feeling these feelings for Jasmine now, can he?
But he's only just allowed himself to do it in the last few days. when
It's
it's
true.
too late and she's forgotten she's in a coma. You know,
Oh, it's
he was
tragic.
stopping. He's been stopping himself, hasn't he?
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
and maybe that's hindered his development as a character.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh God, we're getting like at deep space thinking
I
here now.
just wish they'd give him something else to do. You know, stop being
Yeah.
a carer to Flick. Stop being a boring nobody copper that just likes coffee. Give this guy something to do. Give him more of a
Yeah.
story of his own.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I would. I'm telling you, and I've said it before, and I know you hated the idea. They should have made Gary Flick's real
Oh God.
dad.
Oh God.
You know, because then, you know, like DNA and all that, then it's like, you know, Cash can go on this whole, am I who I thought I was all these years? He's got this then problem with Flick, you know, Flick's not his, you know, Flick's only my half sister, you know, it'll change everything he thought he knew about himself. And, you know, we could maybe then him go back to his childhood and, you know, I mean, everything's been through Flick's lens, really,
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a golden chance to. I mean, it might fuck Flick up, but
I was gonna say, wouldn't it just turn into the Flick show again? I just don't. I think.
probably.
I think Cash would get sidelined again because Flick's feelings on the whole situation would overtake his.
Yeah. Okay.
And he needs something of his own. Like I don't know what it would be. I can't suggest anything. Because he's so dull. It could be anything, couldn't it? I just need him to do something that's not drinking coffee at the diner or going on a shift.
Yeah, he needs to be naughty or something, doesn't he? Get involved.
Yeah. Get involved with something. Just something that makes him happy, or like you see that side of him. Drunk Cash is brilliant. Bring back Drunk Cash. Bring back, Bikie Heist Cash. We've seen different sides to him. They just don't. It's like for an episode and then it's gone again.
Mm.
So yeah. Anyway, we're digressing from your say on the bay. So
Sorry.
my initial question, if anyone's forgotten, was, does anybody care about Cash and Eden getting together? Do you think they are a good couple? Do you see Cash with someone else? Do you see Eden with someone else? Obviously, get in touch if you do. And off the back of that, I guess my second question to everybody is: we've been talking about Remy and Brie and whether they're going to get back together. Is that over now, based off what's happened this week? Does anybody still want them to get together? So be interested to hear people's thoughts on that as well. So yeah, the couples in the Bay that are going through this will they, won't they storylines at the moment. Do we want them to get together, or do we think that, the ship has sailed?
Thank you for listening. We will be back with more episode discussion from Summer Bay soon. Until then, join the discussion online at Coastal News Pod.